Hello, all. My name is Sam Harper, and today I'll be talking about the relationship between depression, anxiety, and prosocial behavior. I hope you enjoy this presentation. Sit back, relax, and let's get into it. First, for this research, I'll be asking the question: are people with depression and/or anxiety more likely to exhibit prosocial behavior? My hypothesis is people with depression and/or anxiety will be more likely to exhibit prosocial behavior. Past work has suggested a relationship between depression and prosocial behavior. When finding literature, I focused on three thesis statements. One, according to the negative state relief model, people in bad moods will want to improve their mood, so they will be more likely to engage in prosocial behavior. People with depression are constantly in a negative mood. In other words, helping people would reduce depression symptoms, suggesting those suffering from depression would want to help more. Two, people with depression are more empathetic, meaning they'd be more likely to help people. And three, low self-esteem leads to increased likelihood of prosocial behavior. People diagnosed with depression and anxiety have low self-esteem, meaning they are more likely to help. As mentioned in the previous slide, these three thesis statements guided my research. The studies I found include associations between adolescents' prosocial experiences and mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic, which found that receiving support decreased symptoms of depression, while giving support increased symptoms of anxiety. Can helping others strengthen teens? Character strengths as mediators between prosocial behavior and adolescence internalizing symptoms, which found that prosocial behavior does protect against depressive symptoms. Empathy and depression among early adolescents, the moderating role of parental support, which found that high empathy could be a risk factor for depression. Longitudinal relations between adolescent self-esteem and prosocial behavior toward strangers, friends, and family, which found a bidirectional relationship between self-esteem and prosocial behavior. And finally, does low self-esteem predict depression and anxiety? A meta-analysis of longitudinal studies, which found that low self-esteem does predict depression, but not the other way around, and self-esteem and anxiety predict each other. There are other works I looked at included in the grant proposal, but these are the main works which support my hypothesis. As shown through the research, low self-esteem is associated with both anxiety and depression, which leads to an increased likelihood of prosocial behavior. On top of this, people with depression are more empathetic, meaning they will be more likely to offer support for those in need when the opportunity presents itself. And lastly, prosocial behavior decreases symptoms of depression, which will lead those with depression to want to engage in prosocial behavior. The above literature and the rest of the literature I have found offered enough support to allow me to form a research protocol. The independent variable will be the status of mental illness in the patients, either depression, anxiety, both, or neither. The dependent variable will be whether or not the participant helps a confederate up off the ground of similar age to the participant. This study will be performed with college students because they are the demographic most affected by this research. To test my hypothesis, we will first establish through professional diagnosis whether participants have depression, anxiety, or neither, and separate them accordingly. The participants will then find a confederate who has fallen to the ground and drop some papers, or will fall in view of the participant. The participants will have to decide whether to help the confederate or not. The amount of time and in what way the participants helped the confederate will be noted and compared to the diagnosis. To prove my hypothesis correct, I would anticipate people with depression will exhibit prosocial behavior more often. The only question remaining: why is this important? There's strong evidence to support a causal relationship between depression and helping or prosocial behavior, but it is yet to be established. This research would hopefully find that relationship. This work will tell us if mental health issues predict more helpful individuals, or vice versa. There's not a lot of work specifically on anxiety and prosocial behavior. This research would hopefully start the conversation and facilitate future work in this area. If nothing else has convinced you, then you should fund this project because of the growing rate of depression and anxiety, due in part to the global pandemic. We are living in a world where these illnesses are becoming the norm, and we need to better understand what effect they have on people. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.